Well, we start this morning with some breaking news. The FA commissioned independent review into the Euro 2020 final at Wembley, carried out by Baroness Casey of Blackstock, has been released. As you can see, our reporter Carve Solokol joins us right now on set. Good morning to you, Carve. Right, what are the key findings here?
Well, look, the key findings, Rob, are that most of the problems, the disorder, was, according to Baroness Casey, caused by reckless and dangerous behaviour of fans without tickets in the 2.5 hours leading up to the 8 p.m. kickoff. She highlights, for instance, the behaviour of a large minority of England supporters was not just disgraceful, it recklessly endangered lives. And she actually puts a figure on the number of supporters who managed to get inside the stadium without tickets. She said it was 2,000 fans who got in without tickets. And she says there were a series of crowd near misses which could have led to significant injuries or even death, and a loss of experienced stewards because of the pandemic meant that Wembley's stewarding operation was vulnerable. She also goes on to say that the absence of fan zones, because of the COVID pandemic, there were no fan zones in London for fans to watch the game. That contributed to the crowd management problems at the stadium. And there was also an insufficient enforcement of the ban on consuming alcohol on public transport in London. Anyone who tried to go to the game could see how many people were drinking and even openly taking drugs in and around Wembley Stadium. And she also says that the policing of the final did not sufficiently mitigate the risk of ticketless fans, with officers deployed too late in the day. Again, if you go to football games now, in the old days, they used to be policed by police officers. In the modern age, that job is now done by stewards. And going to games at the Euros, you could see there were not as many police officers on duty as you would see in tournaments that I've been to in other countries.
OK, right. The review has also made 5 recommendations for consideration. Carve, what are those?
Well, look, the first one is that the government considers a new category for football matches of national significance. Baroness Casey makes the point that this game was such a huge occasion that the planning was not appropriate for such a big event. It was a once-in-a-lifetime game, and the authorities were not prepared for that. She also says that the government should consider tasking the Sports Ground Safety Authority to work with the FA and the event industry to undertake a review of stewarding. So in a way, that is an indirect criticism of the stewarding operation. I would have to say that as far as individual stewards are concerned, they have a very difficult job to do. Most of them are paid the minimum wage, so I don't think we should be blaming them for what went wrong. She also says that the police and local government need to agree on a way forward about who is accountable for Zone X. Now, this might sound a bit dry, but Zone X is the area around Wembley Stadium. And when the Football Association bought Wembley Stadium and built the new stadium, they didn't buy the car park that used to go around the stadium. Now, that car park has been bought by property companies who've built apartment blocks, restaurants, bars, shops, which means that it is almost impossible for the police to put a security cordon around the stadium. If you've been to finals, I'm sure you have, around the world, normally there's a security cordon probably about a mile all the way around the stadium, which means that if you don't have a ticket, you can't get anywhere near the stadium. Unfortunately, that is not possible at Wembley. That is something that needs to be looked at. And she also makes the point that the FA need to lead a national campaign to bring about a sea change in attitudes towards supporter behaviour. The main criticism in this report is directed at those supporters who misbehaved. And she says it should have been a day of national celebration. Instead, it turned into a day of national shame. And the FA need to set up a campaign, lead a campaign to try and get some of these supporters to change their behaviour, to make it clear to them that it is not okay to take drugs in public, that it is not okay to drink all day, and for other people to witness the scenes that we saw around Wembley Stadium on the 11th of July.
OK, so plenty there. Very quickly, what's been the FA's response?
Well, look, the FA have released a statement through their Chief Executive, Mark Bullingham. The FA are apologising for what happened that day. They say that lessons will be learned. And, of course, they've already been punished by UEFA. England's next UEFA game at Wembley Stadium, which is likely to be a Nations League game in June, will be played behind closed doors.